bad. So bad. Fuck, Jesus Christus. Okay, I need to think right now. This is why I need assistant. Always.
What do you mean?
Yeah, because I cannot do it by myself.
Maybe it's a matter of the system.
Yeah, for example, now the whole email list need to be emailed because the link in the email doesn't work anymore.
Or we call an assistant who works until this late.
Yeah, and my executive assistant, of course. Of course. Fuck it. I don't know what to do. See, this is how I lose it. There's too many stimulation.
Yeah, babe, I'm sorry. What can
Not much.
I've been trying to help.
I know, sweetie. I know. Everything Google, show me this, that. I think I will just send an email to everybody that we're facing technical difficulties. Don't know what.
Did you send it? Can I help you with anything?
I don't know what to do. There's 5 people.
Can I help you with anything?
No. No, what can we do? That's really, yeah.
Sorry, I'm not very technical. I don't know.
No, I know. The link in your email part to the. I had to copy and paste. It's live now. Hey guys, that's really technically. My apologies.
I don't know what.
Can you go to the YouTube? Yeah, the link that I sent, of course, to you. And not that one, babe. One that I sent earlier today.
Here.
Can you put these one, please, in the comment section? This link you need to put in the comment section. This link that I just give to you goes into the comment section. That you talk with the people, please go here.
What do I need to talk about? So,
Yeah, just you talk with them. Hey guys. Now you open up another window and you paste that there. Do you hear me? Do you hear me? Do you hear me? Yeah, and perhaps see if people are responding on the other one in the old window. That's Johan. Hey guys, are we all here? Do you hear me? So guys, there's definitely sound. Um, what I'm trying to do, because YouTube left me a little bit alone, um, is to see if I can quickly email the most current link to the rest of the people. So if you would excuse me for 3 seconds, I'm sending as well the link in the emails. So give me 1 second, please. Okay, guys. I need to offer my apologies for for the technical problems that we were all facing here together. It stressed me a little bit out, as you can imagine. Yeah, nonetheless, my deep apologies. In the meantime, I have sent an additional email to the rest of the people because, of course, yeah, moving to 2 different kind of islands, yeah, gives a little trouble. Nonetheless, I am very happy for the ones that are here, and I cannot wait to start with you together the hangout. So without further ado, I will start switching my screen. Quickly check if everything is there, and I see you in a few seconds. Please, do you see the screen? Okay, well, there we are here at this moment. Very happy to finally start this. I have prepared today a preparation for you, a webinar where we're all going to move over. Again, my apologies for the problems that it has caused. I'm very happy to have you all here in the show. So today, a webinar, Become a Fundraising Expert, Get Startup Funding, and how to get prepared. Today, we're really going in more in a physical preparation that we founders need to have before we start the fundraising. Just to not waste your time, is this something for you? A very important question, of course. So automatically, who is this for? I have created this for everybody who's considering launching a company. I want to be prepared for the moment they need to raise from an angel or seed capital. Founders, of course, who have launched their company would love to grow and are in need of external investment coming from angels or seed investors, or experienced founders who have raised startup capital before but want to optimize their fundraising skills. And of course, the last one, company executives who are tasked to raise capital for the company they are working for to raise capital. Now, who is this not for? It's a very important matter. Is for everybody who is raising a B round. Everybody who is raising a B round. And why is that? Of course, people who are raising B rounds automatically have way more experience, are in another field when it comes to the questions that they get back from their investors. And I strongly believe if you're looking for raising funds from your A or B round, that's not a case than, for example, your angel or investment round. So before really going further, let's straight jump into it. So what if fundraising would become easy and would feel like a second nature? That is truly the thing that I would like to highlight during this meeting. Because for a lot of people, fundraising is extremely complicated. They're making it very challenging for themselves. They get almost sweat attacks every day, and nobody really knows where actually to start. And I believe strongly that we are able to make fundraising way easier by just having some kind of metaphors in our mind that we constantly need to take track on. And I'm going to walk you over that. So just imagine for a second here is that if you have all of this knowledge that I'm going to give to you today, and you suddenly feel very confident with the way you are presenting yourself to an investor, how would your world actually look like? Yes, and I just want you to wait and imagine it for a moment, that if fundraising would feel like a second nature, how would that truly look like for you? Now, in this case, of course, everybody would like to have, would love their world to look like they're swimming in money, right? I mean, this is the sweet side. You have suddenly $500,000 deposited on your bank, and without no worries at all, you think like, okay, I'm just going to be the big king of Monaco. But there's some tragedy as well in this case, because the reality, of course, is that most of the time we are stressing. And most of the time, actually, we are creating endless nights, sometimes even arguments with our partners. But it's complicated, right? So what I would like to do is, and that's exactly my goal. It's my goal to really help you to become happy and to make things extremely simple for you. And that is the true meaning of today's meeting. So make fundraising simple. For those of you who don't really know me in that extent, um, I see that there are some people on the line that I know, others that I don't know. My name is Sven. I'm born and raised in the Netherlands, running for 20 years of businesses, varying from different kind of industries. I'm mentoring actively startups worldwide through the Silicon Valley's Founders Institute. I'm at this moment actively advising 10 startups with their launch, growth, and scale. Since recently, of course, I have started the Startup Chef. I'm busy with public speaking, angel investment, generated millions of dollars in revenue, and also fundraised millions of dollars from international investors. So I think that through all of the years and all of the mistakes that I have made and lost a lot of hair along the way, that I have gained some knowledge that I can share with you. And I would like to say that fundraising is for everybody perfectly possible. I just dropped you a note that I was living in Amsterdam and then actually moved to Asia. And at that moment, I was following love. Um, and of course, it brought me to a city where I have never been before, which was Jakarta. So literally with one suitcase in my hand, no friends, no network, no nothing. 3 years later, it resulted in a company with 1,500 people, millions of dollars in revenue, millions of dollars raised. So I just would like to say that everything is possible. It doesn't matter where you live. It doesn't matter exactly who you know. With a true winner's mindset, you can really get things going. And to make things a little bit more easier, I'm happy to take you on as my student. And if you would like to learn from me, I will be very happy to share my experiences. One thing that you really need to understand, I'm not your standard teacher. And for the people that are knowing me, I mean, personally, you can put me in a boardroom or you can put me in a village with smaller kids playing on the street. I'm a chameleon. I'm fitting the situation. Maybe also after 15 minutes listening to me, I'm using my own words to really move certain messages across the board. So I'm not your standard teacher. And I think it's important to know. I love to be controversial at times. I love to drive my ideas and visions through examples we are all very familiar with. Because the more we listen to complicated stuff, sometimes you have those authors who just keep on using very expensive words all time long, and I just don't think that's the way how we can really drive a message across the board. So let's keep things simple, right? Let's use examples that we are all familiar with. And if we may build a relationship together for now or in the future, and the more we are going to work together, you will find out that I will use a lot of parables, a lot of comparisons to share with you and to drive the message across the board. So that brings me to today's topic of discussion. What we're going to discuss is also what we're signing up for, is that there's a few things. There's one big mindset that will change the psychology of startup fundraising. So we will walk you through a 10 minutes, how I like to call it, divine your big love. And the second is impress your love. And the third one is build a relationship with your love. And then another tool to spy on your love. So I can imagine that a lot of people at this moment think by themselves is, am I landed up in some kind of dating show? Is that what I have signed up for here? No, you didn't. But as I mentioned in my previous slide, I truly believe in making comparisons that are very relatable to you. And the more you can relate with the ideas that I share with you, the more stronger you can run your fundraising. So the one big mindset that will simplify fundraising, and it has simplified it for me while I was looking for hooks, how I can really convince, and how I need to write my pitch decks, and how I need to write my emails, and how I need to reach out to certain investors on events, how I can find the right investors, right? It's about one big mindset that will simplify your fundraising. So if anyone has an idea, it sounds very mysterious right now, right? I can imagine. So let's jump into it. I love to say that raise capital like you would seduce your first big love. So wrapping up, summarizing everything together again, to make startup fundraising simple, I would like you to think about the first love that you have met. And you still remember most probably the love letters that you sent, and the anxiety and excitement that you felt in your belly. And I'm very sure that when you walked out of the door for a first date, that you would dress yourself completely up, and that you're also very curious who that guy or girl was, right? So of course you do some research about that. So just take those parables, those similarities in your mind when you start your fundraise. And therefore, raise capital like you would seduce your first big love. Again, guys, if you put this in your mind, everything becomes very easy. Um, in front of you, you see a funnel, right? As you see, I'm not the best artist here on the globe, but I just want to say on the right side, you see all investors worldwide. And on the left side, you see all people worldwide. And then under in the funnel, you have, because we want to make the comparison between love and investing, you're having your big love, your dream investor on the other side, right? So what I'm trying to say is that just like if you were looking for, or you like someone, for example, you don't just pick anyone that you think is worth it, right? You're doing a truly research, finding out um, who fits you, and that's the same actually with investors. I see all day long people reaching out to me or to my friends or to anyone with a numerous of business ideas, which I um, think that I'm not the right investor for, or other investors are also not the right partners to work with. So it's important to select the right investors here, and that means that if you are prepared to find the one and not just shoot in the wild, wild west. So again, the comparison between, if you just go for everybody, there will be no match. And the same it's with an investor. If you just move with all investors along, there will be not a match. So just like in your love life, and just like in your investor, you want to find a match made in heaven. So and that's what we're going to talk about. So let's define your love. Anyway, before I will go further, I will quickly check if there are some question. I see here, how is it if we haven't feeling the love? Do you mean that is on an investor point of view, or do you mean you have not find it? I can imagine if you haven't find it, then think about someone that you have liked before, right? Or someone that you're excited about. Uh, the message that I want to bring across the board here is that if we compare our love with finding an investor, those two goes very ideal together. So let's define your love. Is the same question is, who is my ideal investor then, right? Um, I mean, you don't want to have a loving relationship with everyone, right? You're asking the right questions. And that's the same with an investor. I, again, received tons of messages in my mailbox of projects that I don't think that will fit me, or I speak with other investors around it, that they receive projects that people are just out of the blue dropping all kinds of messages. I mean, that's not how you do fundraising. You want to laser focus, your your pitch deck on an investor that is ready to listen to you. And what does it mean? That an investor has the right ticket sizes for you. That means the money that they are willing to invest. That means that they are maybe in the right industry that they feel that they can contribute. That means that they are locally available for you to help, right? So you would not you're looking for a match made in heaven, and you don't want to waste time. So it's the same thing with investors, right? You don't want to be too picky. So what is happening then is that founders are approaching the wrong investors, and if you approach them in the wrong way and through the wrong channels and without prior knowledge and without any introductions, then it means that you are wasting your time. And for those of you who are a little bit lost, again, I want to make the similarity. You know, you want to know your investor or the person that you're dating before you go in a deeper relationship with someone, right? So what I would like to teach you here is a few questions that you can ask to find Mrs. or Mrs. Right, or in this case, of course, also the investor. So if you're looking for an investment, then the question is, how much investment do we truly need, right? And then the question is the maximum ticket size an investor wants to support. And then if you ask yourself, okay, what industry are we actually in? And then you should come to an answer that leads to, is this investor actually active in the same sector? I mean, is someone an oil and gas investor, or someone a tech investor? Is someone purely active in healthcare? Is our business local or global? I mean, I received a very nice pitch deck from someone from London. Sorry, not from London, from New York City. And I have a network there, yes, but it's not that I can help him in the start because he's a very local company. If he would have a global reach, then it's easier for me to make investments or help somebody like that. Who are our competitors? And is that investor, for example, that could lead to a question, is that investor, for example, having a non-competing agreement? Is our market big enough? And that's a very important question, because the type of investor that you're looking for determines very much the upside that the investor is requesting from you. If your business is too small and cannot bring a 10x return, or at least a 5x or 10x or 50x, then you should question yourself if VCs is the right way to go. I have a little bit of another mindset over this. By times I get a bit tired by the bigger VCs who are really driving you to make extremely high, they're just pushing you across the board to spend money, spend money, spend money. While I think actually it's very important to focus on building a sustainable company. And in my opinion, each company should be sustainable after they have raised their Series A rounds. And then also the founder stays in control, right? And you want to stay in control of your own business. You want to have one day this super nice cash out. So is your market big enough? If you're talking for a friend is not really looking for 5x or 10x. An angel knows that he can lose some money, but he wants to have a certain upside. And a VC is mostly looking for the bigger checks. So asking these kind of questions, the ticket size, the sector, the location, and think about the funnel that I showed you in the start of this presentation, leads to the Mrs. or Mrs. Right, right? So if we ask those questions, then also finding the right investor becomes easier, right? And I will show you why. So tools to use to identify your dream investor. And for a lot of you, these tools maybe are perfectly you know them, right? I mean, Crunchbase, AngelList, Acquired by, Startup Ranking, Kepler Finance, Grojo. I really recommend all of you to check out these tools. And I just want to show you for a second. I hope this lets me not. Let me see if I can walk you through some examples here live on the spot. So we're now on Crunchbase, right? And we just opened a few. We just handled a few kinds of questions. Sorry, we ran through a few kind of questions, and if you answer those questions right, again, guys, this is the message that I want to bring across. Then you will not just blindly drop messages in someone's LinkedIn or email everyone that you think. That's just simply not how it works. So if you, for example, have a business in Asia, then the first thing that you want to do is, of course, search on Crunchbase. Oh, second. Back here. Oops. We go here to investors, right? And then we have here a beautiful button. It's called the investor filter, right? You click the investor filter, you see that there's basic information. Well, if you have your business in India, for example, I think it's really wise if you're early stage that you're looking for a business, a venture capitalist, and investor in India. So let's say we want to look something in India. So location includes any, which is India, right? Boom. Then we can add, or then we press, of course, search. You see the results are already getting less, 2,870 rather than 100,000. And then we add another one. We want an investor that is typically interesting in, for example, the investment stage is early, is not late. You only want to not blindly send to everybody who puts an investor on their LinkedIn profile. So you want to say, okay, early stage venture. Now, see what happens with the research results. There's only 209 left, but these 209, right, you can make a shortlist from, and that shortlist, maybe you can do it yourself. I will do it yourself in the start, or you can hire a virtual assistant and let your virtual assistant find out which of those investors are in the industry that you're active, right? And then you get a very laser focused investor. That's someone who can really, truly help you, right? So anyway, so let's go back to that was just to give you an idea, and the same happens as well with AngelList and even on LinkedIn as well. Startup Ranking, I would definitely also check that, because Startup Ranking is an amazing program which combines actually everything in once. If you want to see what investors are in your, what kind of customers, for example, if you make your pitch deck, right, and you want to come up with an exit strategy that each investor wants to know, going to Acquired by is a very interesting website. So you can see what kind of companies are buying what kind of industries. That gives an investor trust, right? So let's move to the next level. So what we have done right now is, by asking ourselves the right questions, we have identified, thinking about the love, our new partners, or we have identified our ideal investors. And the more we laser focus our investors, the more chance that we have that we're able to successfully fundraise. Now, let's say we're having the right investor, right? The second part, how we can prepare, is we need to impress, right? So, sorry to say this, guys, but we're coming again back to our babe, right, of our love. Impress your love, impress your babe, aka, let your investor fall also in love with you. So you have targeted your beautiful investors. Now you're going to let them fall in love with you. Well, that's a very important way if you want to prepare yourself. And I can guarantee you, you can actually reverse engineer your success in fundraising if you prepare everything in the right way. And that's the same with, again, that love. You can really let somebody almost feel in love with you if you just structure things in the correct way. So imagine, yeah, imagine before your first date, right? Yeah, you're seeing that laughing person, and what's the first thing that you're going to do? What's your first potential new love do you think will do? Well, you have an idea? And what do you think your investor is actually doing? We have a new kid on the block already for a long while. So we have, of course, find the right investor, find the right date. Now we need to impress her, right? And what is everyone going to do? If you have that investor and you send them that message with your brilliant pitch deck, what is an investor going to do? They're going to Google you, right? Maybe not themselves, but they have a whole team of specialists who are Googling you. And an investor is typically looking for two things. They want to make a shitload of money, plus they want to de-risk. Just imagine yourself, if you would borrow money to somebody else, you want to explore the risks. So an investor is really interested in, how can I make as much money with investing as less as possible and de-risking my opportunity as maximum as possible. So if you send your pitch deck, then it's very clear that he will research you. Now, and this example that you see right now in front of you is truly what's happening. Um, I took a stock photo because I don't want to step on someone else's toes. But you have these hotshot guys, yeah. They are presenting themselves on LinkedIn, and then you go to their Instagrams or you go to their Facebooks, and they are trying on the left side. Hey, I'm the cool new CEO of this high tech company, and you need to give me your money because I am truly rocking it. And then the investor's like, oh, nice. But what's suddenly happening is that if we're going to your Facebook, or we're going to your Pinterest or LinkedIn, or sorry, your Facebook or your Instagram, and we see all kinds of party pictures, what do you think is remaining? I'm thinking like, this guy is not really serious, right? So we need, if we want to impress our investor, the good thing is we can really prepare as soon as we start sharing our decks and start to impress him. We can actually engineer almost what we want that they will think about us. And that's the same if you're talking about meeting that hot guy or hot girl. If you see that your hot guy is with all kinds of girls on the pictures, or is that hot girl with all kinds of hot guys on the pictures, I mean, that doesn't give you a safe feeling, right? So that's why I'm making the comparison constantly. Think about investor, and the loved one. So the goal is to really nail your first impression. And again, I have really experienced a lot of times that people, it's just bullshit. There comes a lot of promising stories out of someone's mouth, but they are just screwing up their opportunity. And the fact is, if you have really laser focused your investors, there are not that many investors around, and the investor community is very small. So you want to really make sure that just the story that goes through the market is someone that, if you're the new kid in town, the new tech company, the new startup, that you want to engineer that in the correct way. And the good news is, guys, you can do that, right? So, like your potential love, he or she wants to know if you're a good fit. So the investors also would like to know two things. I already mentioned it here. They want to get growth, so they see how big is this company going to be, and they want to de-risk or trust that you're the right entrepreneur and founder to manage this, right? So it's crucially important that if they start doing research, which all starts on Google, right, then you want to engineer what they find on Google is the thing that cannot blame you or cannot harm you. Or if you're, for example, in an industry that, let's say, if you're in an industry that I cannot really come up with as an example, so 1, 2, 3, but you want to see that you're an expert there. So post things about your expertise, engage with industry experts, right? I will show you why. Anyway, so it's indeed the investor doesn't want to lose. That's the point that I want to make. So they will assess you as an entrepreneur to see if they can win big time. So the goal is to nail your first impression. Yeah. Now, and this is truly one of the takeaways that I really would like to ask you. It's like, when was the last time you really evaluated your social presence? I mean, try it from now onwards with wearing a hat of an investor, right? I mean, it's extremely important to think like, okay, if I will be an investor in my potential future company, how will how will I look to the profile that I'm evaluating, right? So there's a few things that we can do here, right? Is on LinkedIn, for example, is you want to optimize your LinkedIn profile. I think there are still many people who don't optimize their LinkedIn profile in a perfect way, and I will show you some examples. Join relevant industry groups. Again, you don't need to join them because you want to engage with them on a daily basis. I advise you to do so, but still, an investor that's visiting your profile will see what industry groups you are in, and he will check, trust me. Post industry posts, share that you're active, that you want to be more like a leader in your industry. Again, that gives the investor the feeling that you control your shit, right? That you're the guy he wants to invest in. Connect with relevant network partners, on the other websites that I just showed you earlier on the presentation, you can perfectly find out who is key CEOs of the companies that you want to work with. Endorse others, get endorsed, give recommendations. And this is a very interesting, and this is what maybe no one is looking for, but the print, I mean, here you see the print PDF that we have, your LinkedIn resume. Just do it for one moment. You will truly see that if you print that out, that goes into the folder of the investor. Yeah, they will see that. So print it out and see what's on it, and if you're happy with it. Then we have Facebook and Instagram. Evaluate your timelines. Are there some crazy over-the-top religious statements? People don't want that, right? Are you hanging in bars? Are you only on holidays, right? I mean, that's not a good sign because they expect an entrepreneur to work hard. Delete or hide your pictures when you do the fundraising. Remove nudes. And I put here a hot tip is, if you start fundraising, and again, because I'm giving you all of these tips, you are preparing like a rock star. And if as soon as you start doing the optimization, and you start optimizing the LinkedIn, the Facebook, the Instagram, even your Pinterest, right? Then if you have your company ready, then you actually, you almost want to start 1 month before your fundraising. You want to do really some PR activities. Be in the news on tech blogs, on tech websites, on any industry portal. Because if people start Googling about it, they will find, and they think like, wow, this is a good decision. I'm investing in a company that is in the news, right? Again, so let me tell you one little secret. The investor only knows what you tell him, okay? The investor only knows what you tell him. So take that as an advantage. And of course, I already showed you, is that create profiles on these. I mean, go to a Crunchbase, yeah, and create a profile there. Go to an angel list and create a profile there. Go to startup ranking and create a profile there. All of them, and spend time on it. Be professional. Write pictures, etc., etc. Right? It's very important. Now, this is just if you're a little bit in your downtimes, but I have here a link for you. And we can check for a second. Is and I will share the show notes later on with you guys. But let me see. This is a website which shows examples of great profiles. Um, and too often, people here in their top lines, they're saying CEO. I'm the CEO of the company. Nobody, yeah, of course, everybody gives something that you're the CEO, but you can use your tagline here, helping B2B companies generate results in search engines. That says more than your CEO, the CEO of your own house, right? No, so you want to use this tagline to show the rest of the world what you're doing, and that's also what the investor will see. And I will give you an example from it. If we here go back, Hoppatee. So let's for example, oh yeah, let's go one time back. Here, indeed. So for example, let's go to my own LinkedIn profile, because I wanted to show you how it works, right? So I have here, I help your companies launch, grow, and scale, right? Then is my about section. It's very clear that I want to help people raising money or helping growing their business. This, by the way, can also be seen how many people visiting the profiles. Here I can see, of course, the activity. This is what an investor also can see. So he will press see all, and then maybe he will see what kind of activity, how actively is this person posting, right? What articles? Yeah, I have not done any articles. It's a reminder for myself. But also, do you see what's happening here? This is what I want to show. If I'm going to search or on mobile, it doesn't say Sven Miller, the CEO. It says, I help your company launch, grow, and scale. And then the entrepreneur, business mentor, angel, investor, and public speaker comes. So you want to have a very crunchy line here. If I'm posting on someone, for example, here, can I still show that somewhere? Comments. I switched all the comments off. Let's see. Oh yeah. Also, if you comment in a on a post, what do you want? Sven Miller, CEO, or your name, CEO? No, they always see our help your company launch, grow, and scale. That means whatever you put there will be the same. So you brand yourself, right? And you want to show your investor as well, if you go to the profile, that you live and breathe your business, right? I have tons of examples of people who don't have any logos here, who don't have any achievements, who don't have university, who don't have their skills and endorsement. An investor will check up on you. So what you can do here is, if you go to more and you hit the button save PDF, right? You can see in this case, this is my resume, and I have news for you guys. Every investor is printing this out, so you want to take care that this looks good, so you are well prepared, because you want to shoot laser sharp, right? Okay, and if you want to create super nice things, I need to keep a little bit the time under control. You go to Canva, it's an amazing tool. You just make any kind of profile pictures, backgrounds that you want. The goal is here to impress, right? You want to engineer, structure your outcome. Now you have identified your new partner, investors. You have impressed, and now it's time, of course, to build a relationship, because you know who your investor is. You are ready to impress them because you have done all the preparation work, and now it's time to build a relationship. Now, again, build a relationship is like dating, right? Build a relationship with your investor is also some kind of dating. So would you simply ask someone that you just know to jump straight in bed? No, right? That sounds really crazy. Now, how do you need to see this? Now, well, very simple. I hear many stories, I read many stories as well, that people are just sharing the pitch, like, would you like to invest? Of course, nobody wants to invest. Would you like to invest? We want to be teased, right? We really want to be teased in the correct way. And maybe then we will invest. Maybe someone then will jump in that, right? So you love to know each other first. You want to get huggy. You want to get intimate. You want to know your investor. The investor wants to know you. You want to build a relationship. And the same with investors. So it's always better to build a relationship first, become friends, and then ask for money. Well, if there's a few takeaways of this presentation that I would like you to take home, is don't ask for money, right? Of course, you need to ask for money, but build that relationship. Think about yourself. Think again about that person, right? If someone asks you, "Can I borrow money from you?" and then you think, "Okay, who the fuck are you?" Right? It's something that doesn't make any sense. While if I hang out with you, we go have some drinks together, and we can just have some fun, and I see that you're a cool guy, and you're also very confident. Maybe I borrow you some money because I have done my homework. Again, think about the de-risking. So I have one super tip how you can build that relationship first. Yeah, you need to build an investor list. That's key. And don't think about an investor list that you always need to ask for money. I mean, if you have chosen in your life to become an entrepreneur for the rest of your life, yeah, that it's having an investor list is your yeah, it's I cannot even express myself. It's like worth hundred thousands of dollars. Yeah, even if somebody else, some other friends of you want to have an introduction to an investor, you can give it, and you take maybe a percentage off the table. I mean, that's all perfectly possible. So building your investor list is truly the best thing. That's the best thing that you can do. I have here an example. This is just something that I made myself. I removed, of course, a lot of the investors here. This is just an example, so don't call this guy. Here, the name, when is the meeting planned, what's the firm, what's the title. You really want to pay attention to the title, yeah? I mean, don't spend, you need to spend a lot of time on the associates and the principals and all of the people that are relatively lower in rank, because they need to open up the door for you, right? And you want to tell them as well when you contacted them, you want to keep their email addresses, you want to do everything. And if you make it a structural task to just add around 10 investors weekly to your list, and don't tell me that you don't know how to do it, because I just told you in the start that if you ask yourself the right question over your right business, you can find the right investors through Crunchbase, for example, and in the right stage where you're active in. And then you can start generating your investor list and then adding 10 more every week. It's very simple. I mean, I just give you some tools here. Going to websites where they publish investments, like, I mean, TechCrunch, Tech-in-Asia, there's plenty worldwide available. In the messages, you can easily read what the investors are. So if you go on an industry or competitor, you see who is investing there, right? Work on your introductions to investors. So again, we are talking about warming them up, right? Find out who is who in your industries. Connect with contact forms. If you don't have any introductions and you don't want to ask for money yet, you just want to send emails to certain receptionists or whatsoever, where you say like, hey, okay, yeah, I'm not raising, we really want to say this, yeah, I'm not raising money. But it could be that in the months or years to go, we want to raise money. And that would mean that yeah, she gives you entries. Because what is better if you can connect with someone that doesn't ask you for money? It's same like a friend. Again, think about, you cannot emphasize it too much. If you haven't seen a good friend for a very long time, and they suddenly start asking money straight on the first meeting, I mean, would you be happy with that? No, right? Then you think like, dude or girl, where the hell were you the last years or the last months? So you want to keep these introductions warm. So if you have your investor list, and you spend time on that, and you're busy building an amazing company, then the key that I the key tip that I want to give to you is send monthly updates. The monthly updates is a one-pager PDF, yeah, where you start impressing them. You show your progress. You show what kind of product you're working on. I mean, you don't need to show all of your numbers. You just want to put them in the loop. So 3-4 months along the road, you know exactly that if you call them, you're not a stranger anymore, right? So sending out monthly updates, best personal. If you have too many investors, you can also, be smart playing around with your CCC, BCC, but those are all details. The key takeaway is here, you have built a relationship, not by asking straight for money. And that actually also, then I also come back to the question that I received in my mailbox. Someone said, okay, when do we need to fundraise? As an entrepreneur, you always fundraise 360 days a year, right? You always want to raise money or be busy with raising money. You want to keep your relationships warm. You want to have a monthly calendar slot scheduled where you just meet people and tell how amazing your story is. And then when you need it, your relationship is warm, and then you ask for the money, which becomes easier. Now, my promise of today, because we're coming a little bit on the end of this meeting, so my promise of today was to show you 3 tips. So how to prepare effective for fundraising. And of course, one more thing. I told you about the SPY tool. Well, what I really advise everyone to take if you start doing your fundraising is this beautiful product from DocSend. So what happens, right? You're making your pitch deck. You have done an amazing job. You send it away, and you don't know if they are responding or reading your pitch deck. Now, let's go here, check on DocSend, right? DocSend is a service. They call it Raise Capital in the Smart Way. Know who read your pitch deck and who ignored it. Now, imagine that you have a list of investors and you send them information, then you can see through this tool exactly how often they are watching it. So let's say if they're acting a little bit nonchalant to you, if you see them again, hey, have you seen my pitch deck? No, yeah, we have checked a little bit. Well, you know exactly who checked what, who checked what, when, where, right? So control access. It works truly amazing. So stay in the know-how with real-time notifications. This is how it looks like. See how cool. Alexandra Paiva watched it 1 day ago for 1 minute 34 seconds. Well, Matthew Lena, yeah, I think he's not really the guy to go to, because he only watched your presentation for 18 seconds. And Lindsay Dickerson for 1 minute 26. By the way, your pitch deck on average gets maybe reviewed 2-3 times, and the maximum time an investor will spend on the pitch deck is 3.5 minutes. So I see a lot of wordy pitch deck coming passing by, but you really want to create aha moments, be to the point. Again, impress. Don't settle for less, right? I cannot emphasize this. You are you're on your high. You really want to get this investor inside the door. You don't want to deliver half work, right? You really want to impress them. So what did we cover today? Yeah, don't just send out your pitch deck to every investor. I have learned you how you can find, sorry, I have teach you how you can find actually a real match. And the tools like Crunchbase, startup tools, AngelList, etc. I will leave them in the show notes or send them over email so you can check it out. By asking yourself the right questions, you can really create a full 200, maybe 300, or wherever you live. You can make a really nice investor list. Now, if you have that covered, right, You want to stand out and be awesome and look great online. There's a lot of people who don't look great online. I have many examples, but I don't think it's appropriate to show that here, right? You want to show that you're the expert. The postings, your background pictures. You want to show an investor who gives you the money that you are dedicated to make this happen. Again, think about de-risking. Be a winner. Show that you're a winner. And then you want to really build relationships, work carefully on your investor list, send each 6 weeks updates about your company. I mean, with these three things, you are in a very good shape in your fundraising preparation. Now, there's of course much more to tell about all of this, right? I mean, it's not a one hour agreement. Fundraising is extremely challenging, and there's a lot of things that you can prepare very well. So it was my goal for today to change your mindset. And if you're lost, that you think like, okay, I just need to think about my first love, make you aware where the preparation of fundraising starts. You want to really optimize your opportunities. So before we go into the Q&A, I would appreciate your feedback in the YouTube section, comment section. I would really appreciate it if you could leave some comments below, because guys, I'm gonna release something to you. This is my first webinar, right? Super excited, and then of course I need to offer my apologies. Then all technical bells and whistles are not working. I think like, oh my goodness. So nonetheless, I always want to learn. So if you can leave me some feedback, if you think this was valuable for you, definitely let me know. Now, I just want to share this with you. Is there someone who wants to work with me one-on-one? As I shared, I help different kind of companies launch. So everything around the launching, validating, setting up the right MVPs, connecting with valuable partnerships, supporting with the correct way of making pitch decks, etc., etc. And then we're raising a lot of money, right? A few weeks ago, sorry, 1.5 months ago, we raised also $1.5 million for another company also in Indonesia. So I'm happy to help you. If one-on-one work is not truly what you really enjoy, though I really like it, I try to do it in such a friendly way. I'm working on an online course, how to successfully raise early stage investments for startup. And this will cover everything that you need to know to raise successfully. So from term sheets to how to write a perfect pitch deck that will just above average scores, giant numbers, how you can prepare, the way you prepare for your meetings, the way you follow up emails, everything, right? If you have crazy cool ideas for that and you think like, Sven, there's something that I want to see in that course, let me know, yeah. So okay, the Q&A. Well, I took 3 of them. I took 3 of those that I received in the email. I received many, of course. Lynette was asking, when do we start to fundraise? And then we also asked, like, okay, what are investors actually looking for? And how do we entice funds from investors who historically invest in order to profit financially themselves? So these questions are the questions that you have shared with me before. And after this, I'm very curious if you have some additional questions as well, which I'm definitely going to walk over through. So when do we start planning to fundraise? Well, actually, Lynette, I'm not sure if you're on the line, but your fundraising starts actually the moment that you consider making a company or creating, converting your idea into a company. As you have seen here through this presentation out, fundraising is not just knocking an investor door and asking for money. Fundraising is all about preparing yourself, preparing your company, preparing your team, preparing your product, making the relationships. So when you start fundraising, really getting cash along the board, then it becomes easier. In general, and it's a bit the rules of thumbs are different, is that there's, I mean, a lot of people, and otherwise you can check what people have also watched my freebies, is that the number 2 reasons why companies run out of business is because they don't have cash. So when do we start planning to fundraise? One of the key tasks of every CEO is to is to keep his company alive. So you want to prepare for that. You always fundraise, right? Always making relationships. I hope that answers a little bit your question. What are investors looking for? I think we also managed this did this a little bit along the way in the presentation. An investor looks for a couple of things, right? They want to spend money and have at least 10x, sometimes even 50x in return. What do I mean with 10x? That means if he invests $500,000 in you, that he wants in, let's say, 4 to 8 years, at least $500,000 times 5 is $5 million in return. If that's not possible, then some of the investors are perfectly fine with 5x. So if they invest $500,000, they want to have $2.5 million in return. Investors are venture capitalists. It's a nasty word, and I'm not seeing myself as that at all, but it means that they are capitalizing on the opportunities of ventures. They are looking as well for opportunities to de-risk everything. So sometimes they force the founders in all kinds of agreements so they never will lose their money. That's also some of the things that we go over in the course, is all kinds of nasty terms that founders don't know that can literally kill you along the way. I mean, it's very nasty. So investors looking for high returns, de-risking. If you find that your business is a bit smaller, but you should ask yourself, is venture capital the right way? I mean, that brings me also a little bit to the next question. There's many other ways how you can raise money. Crowdfunding is a really cool one. There's angel funds that are smaller, that can really address you. Money is everywhere. We just need to find the right key to open the right door. And this last question comes from Beth, an amazing woman with an amazing mission. She's running an initiative where she would like to support emergency workers globally. That if they are in endangered areas and the communication is broken, that they have the right tools to evacuate all of the people that are harmed by what kind of faculties as well, to help them actually come safe alive out of it. So she's very much in the I don't want to say charity corner, but yeah, there's not directly a business model, though it's very beautiful, that would interest investors. So her question was like, how do we entice funds from investors who historically invest in order to profit financially themselves? Thankfully, there's many investors that start separate funds. Just there is, and I need to check, and meanwhile I will watch my phone. But there are new funds here. I have here a message: Generation closes 1 billion growth funds targeting sustainable startups. So everything sustainable, everything that is ethically right, gets also investment and interest from investors. And sometimes they just run it in that way. You can look for corporates. It's also a good one. And for example, OmniJar is an investor. OmniJar. They are typically interested in good cause businesses. And anyway, otherwise we have the opportunity to talk about this a bit later. Maybe the traditional big Silicon Valley VCs don't see this, but there are still a lot of people who have a lot of money and want to do something good for the world. So let's check into that. Okay, YouTube questions and answers. My lovely assistant next to me, fortunately you cannot see her, she has noted all of the questions. Sven, fair enough about finding the dream investor and your tips, but maybe worth to mention to audience as would be about what to expect from potential investors approaching him, her, them with. Let me see 1 second. Fair enough about finding the dream investor and your tips, but maybe worth to mention to audience. Okay. So I understand from this question is like, what if potential investors are approaching you? Is that correct? I guess so. So, in my reality, there is not many investors when you're very early stage who will reach out to you. That doesn't mean that you don't have a good business, but if you're early stage, you still, yeah, need to show yourself to the rest of the world through news, alerts, PR, press. You need to put yourself in the spotlight, right? So I sometimes think that investors that are approaching you are not always the right investors. But that means, and again, we have many topics to discuss that I really would like to discuss with you in the course as well about due diligence, right? You don't want to only do due diligence that the investor is doing due diligence. That means that they are literally checking everything in your company if it's true and if it's worth it and if you have money and attraction, everything what you say is true. I also believe that you need to do a very strong due diligence on your investor. So if, let's say, an investor comes now to you with a beautiful story and he doesn't have a track record or he doesn't have a professional LinkedIn profile, or he is not willing to share with you what his portfolio companies are where he already invested in, or he really doesn't have the network, right? All of those questions you should ask yourself if he is then the right investor to work with, because especially for early stage up to Series A companies, you want to work with an investor that is able to help you drive forward super fast by connecting you with partnerships through network partners, and that's why it's very important that you find someone who's in your market or at least in your industry that can help and drive your product fast forward. The next question from Slok Joshi. Question: can you raise money when you have bootstrapped a company thus far? Validate an idea, but still don't have capital or a team. Aka solo so far. Is passion a sound plan enough? Okay, Slok, thank you very much for your question. I have always a tremendous respect for people who are bootstrapping their company. And why that is that if you are able to illustrate to an investor that you're able to bootstrap the company, then you're literally telling them actually like, okay, hey, I will not waste so much of your money. And I think that's amazing. So bootstrapping your company, there's nothing wrong with that. Because if you have bootstrapped and you're raising the money, it means almost that you are very secure that the money that you accept from the investor will lead to one thing, which is growth. And unfortunately, there's too many companies that just grab the money and just spend it on things which they know that just doesn't work. Um, so definitely, bootstrap is very interesting. I have one small little quote: is the hardware, sorry, not the hardware, the team setup. You said you're a solo, right? Are you really solo, or does it mean that you have like a one-man show, or you're a solo founder with a team? That's something that I would love to know. I believe in the long term, it's always good when the stress hits up your game to have another founder next to you, because then you can share your experiences and as well look for founders that are complementing your skills, that are not your friends. Yeah, that's very important.
And second part.
Huh?
So from sales. So he answered no.
Okay.
That's not what he meant.
Okay. So okay. Second part, either a business plan, investment proposal versus a full cash flow investment proposal. Fair enough. But we want to speak for potential investors, either a business plan proposal versus a full. Oh, So you mean okay? What you need to share with the investor? For example, for me, it's perfect. You know, your goal is to get a meeting around the table. That's very important. You want to get a meeting, and don't be too comprehensive in your pitch deck. It's not needed. It's completely not needed. But you need to be spot on all the problems that you're solving, and it needs to look very nice. And again, you need to impress this person. Otherwise, just what I would like to do, if you could share me if you could share an email with me, then I will come back onto that question. Sales. So please send me an email to sven.milder@thestartupchef.com. How much cap runway do we need to prepare for Bootstrap until we got funding from a VC? How much runway do we need to prepare for Bootstrap? Yeah, that's a very important one, guys. You always want to have enough money in the bank. If you don't have enough money in the bank, even if you bootstrap as well, investor, again, think about it's a venture capitalist. He truly makes his business in by making good deals, right? So what he will try to do is that if he knows that you don't have money in your bank, he waits and 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 he waits until you don't have any money. He's like, oh, do you want to have your cash? Is this enough for you? But hey, you need to accept these deals. So also, if an investor asks you, okay, well, how much runway do you still have, right? You always want to, just to keep it a little bit for yourself. Don't tell everything what the investor is asking you. Again, think about what I said during this presentation. The investor only knows what you tell them, and especially, I can talk for another hour about it. They have very particular tactics to find out if you're the right fit. I hope that answered your question. So, sorry, one small add-on. How much runway do you need to have? Let's say if you want to have a seed investment in an industry that is hot, then you should be able to complete your investment round. So, investment round in 2, maximum 3 months. But that means as well that you need to be prepared before, right? One important thing is you don't want to, and that's why it's so important to keep on those relationships, because a lot of people are suddenly, without any relationship, dropping those pitch deck on each desk, and then a little bit 2 of this week, and 2 investors the other week, and 2 investors the other week, and that's not going to work. You want to put all of your investors in one club, and then reserve 2 months for it, and then have all of the meetings, because then you can also play the investor out, right? You can put term sheets on the table, negotiate, and all these negotiation tactics I'm also going to discuss in my online course. But it's actually really a game, right? And you can really prepare yourself for it. So to give you an answer, take at least in account for your angel seed rounds around 3 months. And in order to calculate your run rate, yeah, you need to know, of course, how much you have. But best way is to have always 6 months before you start. Any other questions? Any other questions, guys? No questions. So I will share the show notes over email, and I will check each of the participants in 2 weeks from now if everybody updated their profiles and their presence. Yeah, to see if that has happened. Again, if you would like to know more about me, I keep on uh, on sharing the right information and freebies. Guys, I also hope that you can share the good news with others. I'm really trying to make a tribe. We're working on amazing things at the Startup Chef. We're going to offer a lot of mentors that can help everyone. We'll host soon a podcast. We're going to do a TV show that is going to get displayed as well. So I'm extremely bullish to help all entrepreneurs worldwide, and especially ones that are very much focused on their early stage, to help them. If you have questions, drop me an email, send me a message on LinkedIn. Again, I would like to ask you leave your comments below in the YouTube section. And it was a pleasure to have all a chat with you. And I would say, have an amazing day and talk to you soon. This was the Startup Chef live from Bali.